Speaking of TV takes, Sam, you want to set up our segment?
One of the new things we're doing over here on Check the Mic, as opposed to the old show, is we've got this segment that has been inspired by what we affectionately term Shouty shows. Now, it's debatable whether you're on a Shouty show, whether you're a Shouty show person, or merely Shouty show adjacent. But let me claim.
I'm a Shouty show person, but I am not on it. Our show is not a Shouty show.
Okay, all right.
I do my best to, kind of put in a vice my Shouty show instincts to a point to where I'm a little offended that I'm not in this little thumbnail. I'm like, right. Where's me? The Skip's not even on TV anymore. So if you guys want to have your graphics department at some point, update it and flip out.
True.
Now, don't do my profile, because that's not my good side. But if you can find a way, just a straight on
we can
shot.
add you in. We'll add you in.
You have appeared on the Shouty Show segment, so you have at least been as part of the show. Let me play you what I think is probably the archetype Shouty Show segment, and I want to get your take on what is happening here.
Okay, great.
What if this game comes down to the last 2 minutes? Which quarterback you got? You taking Tebow or you taking Brady? Seriously, Stephen A. Smith. In all objectivity, just looking at the cold, hard facts, I am taking Tim Tebow. Because numbers never lie. And the number that I'm hanging my hat on is his QBR in the last 9 minutes is off the charts and easily the NFL's best. How can you argue with that?
It ain't unconstitutional. It's not egregious. It's not derogatory, disrespectful. It's not flagrant. It is blasphemous. I'm saying blasphemous and Tebow.
Unmitigated goal.
The fact that you can put Tebow in the same sentence as Tom Brady on any day, in any category, in regards to football, is beyond comprehension.
It's great. It's great. I love it so much.
Now, you respect the craft of the Shouty Show. I know that. I've listened to you talk about Skip Bayless before.
I love it.
I
love it.
But I hate that what that has done to the discourse with a fiery passion. And I need you to explain to me what was happening on that segment. Does either one of them believe a single thing that they are saying?
So keep in mind, Skip is the biggest Tom Brady fan in the world. So that was a true Sophie's choice for him. And now this is a long time ago.
Right.
When would that must have been from 14 years ago, something?
Probably the 2011 playoffs when they were playing each other.
Right. So almost 14 years ago. So in defense of the Shouty shows, as you put it.
Here we go.
It is much like anything that tastes great but isn't good for you. It shouldn't be your entire diet, but it would be a huge bummer if it wasn't available. And here's the other thing, because here's what's happened, in my opinion. I'm going to go the other way. You guys take shots at Shouty shows. I'm not taking a shot at your guys' show, but I'm going to say what has happened to the Shouty shows in a way. There are a lot of people. One of them now is the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, who used to go on the Shouty shows, but really wanted to do your show. So they go on the Shouty show and then be like, you guys are idiots. This is stupid, which is revolting. If Sam, if you're in New York and I'm like, hey buddy, we're having a party at my house. It's an Uno party. Everyone's playing Uno. And you're like, okay, I'll be there. And then you show up, and we're all having a great time laughing. Draw 4, reverse. And you come in, and you're like, excuse me, everyone. Don't you know how stupid this is? Why aren't we playing chess? Like, well, hey, man, there's plenty of chess tournaments around all the country. And in today's media environment, if you want to learn about CPOE and ADOT, guess what? They exist. But this is one of the reasons I was so excited to come on here is I feel like I'm almost like an infiltrator. Like I'm on here just giving like, hey, F point differential, count the wins. And meanwhile, and you might be like, well, that's unfair and it's stupid. But I then have to, at some point, I'm going to see Ben Solak on First Take being like, well, actually, guys, let me explain to you what you don't understand. It's like not what we're here for. Not what we're here for. We are here for your deeply passionate beliefs. And one of the reasons, if I may say so, that I think our show has done well and people enjoy it is what doesn't work, in my opinion, with the shouty shows, as you put it, is if you take yourself too seriously and if you don't understand what we're doing is kind of ridiculous. And you also do need a factual base to build this argument from. Now, Skips in that clip was QBR in the final 9 minutes. That might not quite be the most stable ground to stand on, but it's something. It's not made up out of whole cloth. And so, I like that there is a diverse array of media, and football fans these days can truly get exactly what they want. If they, from the shoutiest to the mix, which is kind of mine, to the most analytical, to all of it, and you can pick what you want. But I do want to debate whether or not, if Lamar Jackson loses and scores the fewest points he scored all year once again in the playoffs, what that says about him as a player. And you know why I want to debate it? Because I actually think that's something like a lot of sports fans are like, man, Lamar's pretty awesome until the games matter. What do we think that's about? So I find that stuff intriguing and entertaining. And so, yeah, that's my defense of the shouty shows. But I also am glad you guys exist. And you guys aren't like analytical nerds. You guys have like a good, really good, actual entertaining show, but you guys have way more meat than obviously the shouty shows, as you put it. But like, I feel like, come to you to make sure my facts are correct, and then I put a nice packaging on them on TV.
But that's why I think, there's obviously an art to just being an entertainer on TV, right? That's a skill. And obviously you don't just want this dry, here's a bunch of facts. No, like it shouldn't be an academic paper when you're presenting information about football. So you obviously want there to be some entertainment value. Where I think the line is, or where I think an important line is whether you believe the crap you're actually saying or not. And this is why I think you fit into this shouty show adjacent category, because you believe the arguments that you make. And I think you actually make sound arguments based off fact. Yeah. They may be ones that people disagree with or whatever, but there's no way Skip at any point in his life actually believed that, right? Tim Tebow is better than Tom Brady.
Here's the thing, man. Skip made a ton of money in sports media. If he didn't believe the Tebow and LeBron stuff, he would have made more money as an actor. I think you can sniff out the guys who don't believe it. So I actually listen. Names. I obviously say it again.
Name What'd names. You say, who doesn't believe what they're shouting on the shows, Nick?
Hold on. Let me make sure. I want to make sure I have this name right. I have to so I'll give you an example of a guy who briefly did it. And I'm like, oh, you're definitely just checking the wind and being like, I'll go opposite.
Yeah.
So, this is shitty. But I thought Ryan Hollins briefly was doing NBA stuff. He even came on my show once. And I would be like, wait, you're saying directly opposite things, like within the same day. And so, and by the way, again, he was a nice guy. He was new to the media. And so I'm not saying that's who he is as a person, but that was just like an example, and you made me name names. That sucks.
Sorry.
You shouldn't have done that.
We can cut it. Don't worry. It's not live.
No, don't cut it. It's fine. No.
It's live.
I thought it was live, but it's fine.
No, it is live. He's lying to you.
It's the point is, I don't think I think the audience can sniff out if you're just trying to be contrarian, especially if you're someone who's on every day. Because it's so, it would be so hard to do my job if I had to remember all my takes. But I don't have to remember any of them because it's just what I believe. And so here is what, in my opinion, is the way to do what you're calling the Shouty show. Proper, and I'm no genius about, like, it's not like I invented the genre. I mean, I probably am a genius, but not about this stuff.
Naturally,
I'm not acting like I'm the best or I have it figured out. But the way I do it is this: find what you truly vehemently believe, find facts to support it, and then package it in as eye-popping, funny, interesting, unique way as possible, and then say it a little more bombastically than you would if we were just sitting on my couch.
Yeah. Juice it up.
Yeah, I mean, it is it is entertainment, and it is, that, but if you're starting from a place of, who do you have in this game? I'll take the other team. You're doing 10 hours live a week, plus pods, plus this, plus that. The audience is going to be able to be like, wait a minute, but you said this before. And so that's kind of where I fall on it.
That's good. That's a good, honest way to do it, Nick. Whether people believe you're doing it honestly or not. I don't really, here's the thing. You care what people think. Of course, they got to watch your show.
No, so I do obviously care what people think, but I'm blissfully unaware of it.
There you go.
If you don't like me,
that's outstanding.
Yeah.
You have to, like, people, like my son will tell me sometimes, my son who I do What's Right with, he's grown, he's 26. He doesn't so much anymore. Producers on the TV show used to say some version of, oh man, you are getting killed today. And I'll be like, no, I'm not. They're like, no, look. And I'm like, man, unless someone saw me on the street and yelled at me, best I can tell, I'm fine. Like, about once a month, and I understand Twitter, it programs to you, so everyone's not seeing this, but once a month, I'll go on Twitter, and I'll see in the, like, trending in sports, my name, and I'm like, not clicking that thing. Tell you that much right now.
Not even curious.
Not interested.
Smart. I mean, look, my one dabble into your world of trending for saying something was when I declared Tom Brady done in the 2014 season, and that was the world for 2 weeks. That was all anybody was talking about, was this one article that was on ESPN Insider and sparked an absolute shitstorm. And I was being invited on, like, ESPN television to talk about it. I had one footstep into that world. I don't want to go in there again.
Yeah. It is, Cowherd said this, and he's right. This was years ago. For some of us in the business, one of the best things that ever happened was that Old Takes Exposed Twitter account.
Yeah.
Because it made some of our colleagues so scared. And so, like, they're just like, they're never gonna have, because the audience, here's the other thing I'll say, and I don't want to drone on. If you are a reporter, accuracy, like, you've got to be accurate with your reporting. The audience does not expect predictions to be accurate in the same way. They are obviously educated guesses. And so folks like I'll give you what was a great just total whiff by me, just all time. I mean, the Saquon thing is a good example. Now I've flipped on it, but and I have a bunch of them, I'm sure. But people will be like, "Oh man, like you totally missed on it." I'm like, "Well, yeah, like that's gonna happen. Like you're gonna if you pick here's a good one. The Chicago Bears are gonna go to the Super Bowl. How about instead of that, they lose every game after October and they fire everyone in the organization? Whoops, got it wrong. But I really believed they could, and also like I gave an argument as to why,
right?
And now I'm wrong. So be it. I think there are a lot of folks that are like afraid of, you know, the internet being like, oh, you got that wrong. And so because of that, their opinions are so milquetoast, or they're just so like, you know, what Levitard used to call Captain Easy stance. And yeah, so it's good for me because it's not that I don't care. I'm just blissfully unaware. I'm like Joe Pantoliano in The Matrix after he takes the pill. He's like, I want this steak to be real even if it's not. Like, man, I want to think people like me even if they don't. So I just won't click that little button and see what they actually think.
That's probably a good way of doing it.
I like to just
I accidentally saw what people said when you said I was coming on the show.
Dude,
I was like, oh, that's
insane.
a hellscape. I'm not participating in that discourse.
Brutal.
Some people said mean things. Other people enjoyed it though. And that's all that matters.
And we enjoyed it, and that's the important thing. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.